Hey guys, how you going? I hope you're all doing really well and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing my calisthenics transformation. So that's going to be going from knowing absolutely nothing, not knowing what calisthenics was or even knowing how to pronounce the word, to where I am today, which is being a personal trainer, and I specialize in women's fat loss and in calisthenics training as well. So if you are interested in how I got from A to B and all the stuff in between, then this will be the video for you. So most of you will know, but if you're new here, you might not be aware that I have previously lost a significant amount of weight. Now, when I lost this weight, it was around 30 kilos. I did this through reducing how much I was eating and also through doing HIIT exercises. The reason I chose HIIT was because I didn't really know what else to do, and I just picked up some DVDs off the shelf. I always get questions which DVDs they are. I will try and put a picture up somewhere on the screen so you guys can see it. But I have also made a couple of other videos about that whole journey as well. So you can go and check them out if you're interested in the weight loss part. But this video is going to be specifically about the calisthenics, and that all started in around 2016 when I set myself a New Year's resolution to be able to do a chin-up. Now, I can't remember the exact reason I set myself this as a New Year's resolution, but I do vaguely remember seeing somebody on Instagram, I think it was a woman, and she was doing a chin-up, and I just thought she looked like an absolute boss, and I was like, I want to be able to do that. So that just became my goal, literally just to be able to do one chin-up, and I didn't have a clue what strength training was. I'd never had a gym membership. I had no clue at all. But that was going to be my goal, and that's what I was going to work towards. So this goal had absolutely nothing to do with how I looked. I, at the time, really wasn't focused on how I looked or how I felt. It was more so I'd lost the weight, and that was just the lifestyle I lived. So after I lost the weight, I continued to do HIIT intermittently, and I did a bit of running as well, but I kind of slacked off. I got a little bit complacent, and between that period and starting calisthenics, I had maybe gained, I don't know, 5-10 kilos or something like that. I really don't know, but I'll try and find a photo of what I looked like at the beginning of 2016, and when I set myself the New Year's resolution to be able to do this chin up. Like I say, aesthetics really wasn't a thought in my mind. It's interesting now looking back that I just was so oblivious to anything aesthetically, but I think that's because I'm now so immersed in the world of health and fitness that I see other people's journeys, I see other people's goals, and they're usually aesthetics based. So it just surprises me that I look back and I don't think I really paid much attention to it. But anyway, the goal was not aesthetics based. So beginning of 2016, I set the goal. We get to mid 2016 and I still haven't done anything to work towards this goal at all. I think it was at this point that I re-saw something on Instagram of someone doing chin-ups, and it reminded me that I wanted to achieve this. So I just started to try and hang off a bar. So I had a little gym in the apartment I lived in, and I just went up there on the Smith machine. I set the bar up high. I actually got my boyfriend to do it because I didn't know how to use any equipment. And I just tried to jump up and hold. I had no strength at all. I do have some footage of it, and I have footage of me getting very angry at a resistance band because no matter how thick the resistance band, it wasn't helping me get to the top of the bar. And it was at this point I realized that this was going to be a lot harder than I had thought. It's probably important to note that I had no clue what calisthenics was, or that it was a form of training. I didn't understand strength training. I honestly can't stress to you guys enough that I had absolutely no knowledge about fitness at this point. I didn't know what sets and reps were. I didn't know anything regarding form or anything like that. I literally just knew that I wanted to be able to do a chin up, and I was just going to keep trying until I managed to do one. So as the weeks went on, every now and again I'd go up to the little gym and I would start trying to hold onto this bar and see if I made any improvements. I also started working on some other basic movements that I knew kind of looked cool, which are things like push-ups and then some core work as well. I was coming from a pretty low base in terms of strength. I probably could do some modified push-ups from doing the HIIT workouts so often, but there was no form at all, and I didn't really know exactly what I was meant to be doing. And in terms of core strength, again, it was probably mediocre, and that was thanks to doing the HIIT for a while. But really, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was coming from quite a low base to start with. So after a couple of months, and I do mean months, I started to notice that there was tiny bits of improvement in what I was actually able to achieve in my strength. And it also started to not only feel different, but look a little bit different too. And it was at this point that I decided I was gonna add in some more different cool types of training, and that included handstands. And that's where the handstand journey started as well. And I actually found a video the other day, which I will insert, of me doing handstands for the first time. And I often get so many questions saying, how do you start handstands and what should I be doing best, and I'm too scared. And I often just say, even though there are progressions, that I just started out just trying everything, trying to hang on a bar, trying to do a handstand, and I just didn't really have the fear. Like, I fell over a couple of times and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept trying. So I really started enjoying my training, and it was at this point that I decided that I was just gonna make an Instagram account, which is the one I have now, and I was just gonna start documenting what I was doing and putting it up there. I already liked doing creative stuff and like taking photos and things like that, so I thought it would be a good option just to create an account and start putting stuff up there. It was through this Instagram account that I started to look at some different hashtags and like bodyweight training and handstands, and that led me down a bit of a path into what I now know is calisthenics. At the time I was looking at it, I didn't know how to pronounce the word. I was like, calisthenics, calisthetics, I have no clue. And I literally just started copying what I saw. If I saw someone doing a handstand in a doorway, trying to twist their legs in a certain way, I tried copying that and I usually failed. If I saw someone doing a back bend against the wall, I would try that and again, usually fail. I would try making up my own choreography and just literally enjoying moving my body, and I would film it and record it again and again and again until I'd get it perfect, and I was just enjoying it so much. It was at this point that I noticed the intensity of my training was ramping up just because I was having so much fun doing it. It's the time just drifted away. I don't even feel like I was working out, because I wasn't, and I'll kind of go into that a bit later, but I never followed a program, I never had a set idea, and I often still don't. When I go and exercise, I just go and do whatever I feel like doing on that day, and it gives me a lot of freedom just to enjoy moving my body and trying new things. So I'd been doing this for a little while, and I was using either free parks that I had found, but there was not very many around where I lived, because I lived in the suburbs at this point. So if I wanted to go to those parks, I would have to have traveled quite a distance. So I'd just been using any spare space in my house to do any exercise, and I really didn't have any equipment either. I think at this point I had gone out and purchased a door-mounted pull-up bar, and I don't have one right here, I have my squat rack here, but it was just a cheap $12 one from Kmart, and it just hooks over the door frame. If you're in Australia, Kmart's fantastic. If you're in the UK, I got my one from Argos, but you can get them on Amazon and they're super cheap. And that was a fantastic purchase. I literally just hooked that over my door frame, and every time I walked past it, I either hung on it, I tried to do hanging leg raises, or just again copying something I'd seen and usually failing. As I started to get stronger, my boyfriend had suggested to me that I maybe join the gym, and I'd never had a gym membership until this point. I was petrified of the gym. But at the time I was going to Monash University in Australia, and they had a pretty decent gym there, so I thought, why not? I started going to the gym a little bit and getting a little bit more confident using some of the equipment. So they had things like a decent rig, which had monkey bars, they had rings, they had parallettes, and then obviously like Swiss balls and stuff like that. And I slowly just started playing around with these things. And trust me when I say, I went at the quietest times when there was no one around. Everybody was in lectures. I'd just go in, do my thing, and then leave. I was still too scared to be there. But over time, my confidence grew to be in the gym. So by this point, it was probably early 2017, and I still hadn't achieved that one chin up. And I'm gonna let myself off because I did start halfway through the first year, but I didn't really realize just how long it takes to master some of the skills in calisthenics. But I'll tell you what, the wait is so worth it. I kept just hanging on the bar. Every time I walked past the bar in a park, I would try and do a chin up, and eventually I managed to actually do one, a full chin up, and it was such a cool feeling. I just remember being so ecstatic, and I think I stepped off the bar, I went back a couple of days later and I couldn't do one again. And I was like, oh no, I've regressed. But this is completely normal. It's always gonna be ebbs and flows, and a couple of days later I was able to do one, and then it was only upwards from there. I quickly realized that when you're aiming for something, the first rep is like the hardest one to get, but once you've got there, your progress gets so much quicker after that point. And then not only that, but you can constantly keep challenging yourself and always find new ways to develop the skill that you've just learned. So I continued uploading to Instagram, and then one day I received a message from somebody who's a very very dear friend now. His name is Kirsten, and he reached out to me and said that he wanted to connect with me because he didn't know any other women in calisthenics, and he actually said he wanted to record something with me for his YouTube channel. And at the time I was like, whoa, no, like I'm just a self-taught, like just handstanding, falling over and trying to do push-ups and pull-ups, and I still couldn't really do many of them or do them at all. Like I couldn't handstand and hold it. And so I was like, no, but I didn't want to be rude and say, no, I'm not going to do it. So I said, no, but I'm happy to meet up with you and maybe train one day if you want to do that. And he was like, totally, let's go meet at the park. And so this really was the start of like the next part of the journey. So yes, I love him dearly now, but at the time I didn't know him. So I met him at the park one day, and he was so outgoing and so confident. He was talking to strangers, he was just trying stuff he'd never done before, and he was kind of just getting into calisthenics as well. So it made me realize that I shouldn't be so scared connecting with people. This is one of the beauties of calisthenics. It doesn't matter if someone's a beginner or someone's an expert, they've always got something that they're working on and that they're trying to learn. And not only that, but they know how hard it can be to get into it. So there's nothing but support and care in the calisthenics community. So Kirsten's attitude definitely wore off on me, and I started getting so much more confident going to the park on my own. So I would get in my car, I would take the 45-minute drive to the park, and I would start doing my training. And I really, again, didn't know what I was doing. I'd just try and roll around the bar or do some handstands and fall over, or try and do pistol squats or whatever it might be. But I noticed that I started being a lot more confident around other people and making friends and just talking to people who were at the park. And a lot of them were male because it is very male dominated, and they were the kindest, most supportive people. And there was never any judgment there, which made me feel so included, and I just started to absolutely love being there, being in that environment and being around the type of people that were enjoying what I enjoyed. My passion for just being absorbed in this type of training just absolutely skyrocketed from there, because I was so happy. It always makes me well up when I think about it, but I was so happy when I was at the park and just enjoying it. Like time didn't exist. I was just there, just playing around and just doing whatever around just awesome people who were so kind. And when I was at home, I would go to the little room I'd set up, put some music on, and just while away the hours, just playing around, moving my body, coming up with crazy choreography, trying moves that I'd never done before, and slowly improving. I managed to start doing pull-ups, I managed to do skin the cats, I managed to do handstands. They were definitely improving a lot, although that still took quite a long time. And my push-ups improved a lot as well. And then additionally, pistol squats got a lot better. So in general, my whole body was getting so much stronger. And not only that, but my balance was better, my proprioception was better. And interestingly enough, my body started looking very different. Until this point, my looks had been so irrelevant to me that I hadn't really paid attention to them. But I started to notice that I was looking very lean, but also quite muscular. And this is helped by the fact that I had never done strength training before, but this was completely accidental. I wasn't eating a certain diet to look that way. I wasn't trying to eat in a calorie deficit. In fact, it was very much the opposite. I was starting to eat more and more, and I naturally fell into a pattern of eating that was a lot more healthier and a lot more balanced. And I realized, and I mentioned this in my previous video, that everything was just starting to click together, that my nutrition was fueling my body and fueling my ability to move and get stronger, and my passion was ensuring that I ate in a certain way even though I was making no effort to really eat that way. And it changed not only how I felt, but how I looked, and I looked very different. So I suppose something I want to stress is that everything that I achieved was very effortless in regards to, I didn't think of it too much. I didn't put too much conscious thought into it. It took a lot of effort physically, but again, I don't feel like it looking back because I was just enjoying it. I was never doing programmed workouts. I was never doing sets and reps. I was never doing timed workouts or anything like that. I was just playing around, moving my body, going to the park, going into my room, doing handstands, and somehow this was the result I was getting. So I know from my job that we can drive ourselves a little bit crazy in having exactly the right program or the right circumstances to reach a goal that we have. But I'm also a huge advocate for just enjoying your training and just moving your body in a way that feels natural. And you will still get results, you will still see progress. You can follow a program, and some people love following programs and having the structure to a workout and it keeps them accountable, but you don't need to, because ultimately what you want to do is try and create a lifestyle, something that you love. And that is what I started doing with calisthenics. It just became a hobby and a passion and something that I wanted to be doing in my spare time. The looks were irrelevant, the weight was irrelevant, and really what I could do was irrelevant. I wasn't berating myself if I couldn't do a pistol squat, but I just kept working on it, hoping that one day I'd be able to, and then one day I was. It was only really at this point in my calisthenics journey that I actually started investing in any equipment, and I still don't have a huge amount of equipment. So a lot of people say to me, I don't have any parks near me and I don't have any equipment at home, so I can't get started. And the only thing I guess that's quite useful to have is a pull-up bar, although there is still some ways you can get around it. But if you want to learn pull-ups, then having a bar is going to be really handy. But other than that, I just had resistance bands, I had some weights, just some light dumbbells, a yoga mat, and then after a while I got a gym ball, and then I also made some parallettes. I'll put a picture up, but I have made a video all about my calisthenics equipment. So I made some parallettes, and I don't use them a huge amount, but they're there and really handy. And obviously I had the door mounted pull-up bar, which I kept for ages, and that was all I used, was that $12 pull-up bar. And then I replaced it when I moved back to England. And I recently, when we went into quarantine this year, bought a squat rack with a pull-up bar. So I would say at the start of 2019 was when I was really at my peak in terms of training. I was probably at my strongest and I had the most skills. And then I moved back to England. And it was at this point, when I had left university in Australia and come back to England, that I decided to become a personal trainer. I've always loved working with people, and obviously I had a huge passion for this type of training and training in general, as well as an understanding from the weight loss aspect of it. But I never really had the confidence to step out and do something like that, and to run a business and to believe in myself and think that I could actually help people. So I was kind of nudged into it at the time by my family, but I ultimately did it, and it was probably the best thing that I've ever done. Because I started in calisthenics as a complete beginner, and I know how difficult some of the beginner workouts are out there, I felt that it was really, really important that I could put out content and videos that would help people feel that they could be included in calisthenics, because I can fully relate to how it feels to look at a beginner workout and feel defeated when it's push-ups on your toes or a pull-up on a bar. Not only that, but having lost weight prior to the calisthenics journey, I know all the challenges that come with weight loss transformation and a lot of the barriers that people feel are there. And I feel like it's my job now to make sure that they are broken down as much as possible. Because I know there are so many people that want to get into calisthenics but are a little bit nervous or a little bit unsure, or just feel like they just don't have the education there. I just want you guys to know that you can truly create a lifestyle that you love, and you don't have to follow necessarily stuff that's popular online or specific workouts just because you think that that's going to work. What's really important is just creating a lifestyle that you love and living a healthy life. I love that there's so many of us now that are really interested in getting into this type of training. That's why I created the ebook and also do the coaching that I do, and it amazes me how many people have messaged me and said, I've gone out and bought a pull-up bar because of your video or because of your ebook, and it just fills my heart so much that there's a little Cali family out there. I call you guys the Cali fam because it is a community, it is like a little family, and everyone supports each other. So whatever level you're at, never feel afraid to get involved. Just enjoy moving your body. I'm currently injured. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably wouldn't have seen too much about it, but I have a herniated disc in my lower back and sciatica, and I haven't really been able to train for over 5 months properly, and I cannot tell you how much I miss it. But it has given me a whole new appreciation for how much I love moving my body and how much I enjoy this type of training. And I have nothing but an even bigger passion for it now that I haven't been able to do it for a while. And I'm so excited to be able to get back and enjoying it. We're slowly getting there. I've been able to do a couple of handstands here and there. I can still do some push-ups. I went bouldering the other day as well, because I still classify all these things in the calisthenics world. It's just about moving your body, enjoying it, and you're using your body weight as the resistance mainly. So guys, that's what I have for you. If you have any questions, you can drop them down below, or you can head over to my Instagram and chat to me over there. I love hearing from you guys. If you're interested in coaching, everything is in the down bar, and also the ebooks down there as well. I would love to have you as part of the Cali fam. I will chat to you guys in the next video. Have an amazing day.